If you're growing a mango tree at home, or you're thinking about growing a mango tree at home, stay tuned. This is going to help you save time and help you grow better fruit. So first things first, why even bother pruning a mango tree? Well, pruning a mango tree does a few things. First, it keeps the tree healthy. It produces a better production of fruit, and kind of think of it as giving your tree a haircut, which is going to help it grow and look good while doing it. Now, when it comes to like picking a time to prune your mango tree, timing is important because first, you don't want to start pruning your tree during the time that it is pushing out a bunch of new growth. So the best time to start trimming your tree or pruning your tree is around late winter, early spring, right before it starts pushing out new growth. You definitely don't want to start trimming your tree or pruning your tree during the time that it has flowers or it's fruiting, because that's going to, only thing that's going to do is stress it out, and it's going to actually reduce the amount of fruit you get at the end of the season. My tree back here needs a serious prune. Now, I'm not going to go crazy with it. I never suggest that you prune more than about 10 to 20% of your tree at a time, because you do not want to send your tree into shock, okay? Now, before you get started with your utensils that you're going to be, what I do is I get a piece of paper, get some rubbing alcohol, go ahead and dab that, get the piece of paper nice and wet, and I clean off my utensils. So I'm going to be using these hand tools, as well as this guy over here. This is so I can reach as high as I possibly can. And of course, even when I reach as high as I possibly can, there's no way for me to get to certain areas. And that's why I have that ladder back there, so that way I can get up in the middle without having to climb the tree. Because I mean, I'm not climbing any trees right now. It's winter. It's not time to climb trees. I mean, and of course you want to be as careful as you can. Here we go. All right, guys. So here is what you're looking for. Okay, you're looking for dead branches, any kind of branches that look diseased, and you want to chop those off because they're not helping your tree. So you might as well get them off. Like this right here, it's completely dead. It's just on the tree. There's no need for it to be there. And it's just going to cause disease. So you want to get all these off. Some of these are definitely not going to be helpful to the actual plant, so I get rid of them. I also look for limbs that are higher up that are not doing so well, so those are the ones I target. I make sure I take a look at the canopy of the tree. Let me show you guys up here. So I'll show you guys what it looks like in a second, but I focus on the canopy of the tree, right? You see how it's crowded up there? I want to thin that out a little bit because you want to make sure that when it comes down to it, your mango tree has airflow going through it. You want to make sure that if it rains, when you have actual fruit on the tree, right? So if it rains, you want to make sure that airflow can go through here and dry them out, because it's going to reduce fungus. It's going to reduce your chances of getting fungus on any of these limbs. It's going to promote fruit production. Some of these limbs are not doing anything at all, so I take them all the way down to the knuckle, so that way the tree has a chance to grow better limbs. So this one right here was dying, so I dial it back. There's one right above it. This one was completely dead, so I'm gonna dial these back. See all these limbs that are on your tree that are dried out and just hanging there? These are the ones you want to target. You want to target these limbs, get rid of them. You can actually put them in your compost pile, or break them up so you can actually reuse them. But what I'm doing is I'm literally thinning out the middle of this tree by getting rid of limbs that I know are doing nothing but crowding the tree, because I want light to come in, get through this whole thing. So all these are doing absolutely nothing. There's a bunch of limbs that are doing nothing but just crowding the tree. So we're gonna get rid of them, especially the ones that are completely dried out. Pro tip, after you finish trimming your tree, don't throw away these limbs. What I'm doing right now is I'm using a pair of shears to break down these branches, and what I'm doing is I'm going to put them in a pile and put them in a bin. See them there? separate the little twigs from there on that side. So what I'm going to do with this stuff is I'm going to actually use it later on as part of my compost. As it dries out, it is going to be used in the new beds that I've put together. So don't waste it, reuse it. All right, that's the pro tip. Continue thinning this out to make sure I can get some light in between here, because all these limbs are just crowding the tree. Even this guy over here, this is just a useless limb that's causing overgrowth. All these branches, I'm going to actually reuse them. I'm going to cut them up and put them in my collection bin, so that way I can actually reuse them in the future once I get them to break down and get them to a point where I can use them for compost. So like for example, let me show you guys a prime example right here, right? You see how that's all crowded in there? You want to kind of spread that out. Some of these limbs are doing absolutely nothing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and clear this up to where it should be, okay? And I come all the way down to the very end right here because I want to make sure I get all the way down to the knuckle, right? And then now I can start cleaning up some of these smaller ones, so that way I can allow this tree to have a better yield. So some of these limbs are doing absolutely nothing except for getting in the way of airflow through all these to every limb once it starts to rain or something like that occurs. So some of these limbs I'm definitely taking away, especially if they're dead. I have to be careful because I do have some air layers in here and I don't want to chop off the limbs that I'm air layering by mistake. So I have to definitely be paying attention to what I'm cutting off to prevent that. Some of this is just overcrowding, you know, and these limbs are not doing anything for this tree. I do have an air layer on this particular branch down there, so I'm going to leave this one alone. Just probably trim this one off so that way all the energy can go into the air layer. So all those limbs that I just took off actually gave this some airflow coming through here, so that way it keeps all these branches dry in the event that it starts to rain. Now there are some other pieces that I could take off, but like I said, I don't want to take off too many branches. So now I'm just going to focus on any dried or dead branches that's on this tree, so that way we can prevent any kind of diseases in the future. Some of these are just crisscrossed all over the place. They're not really doing anything. As you can see now, there's a big difference here. Now you have some airflow going through here and the branches are not overcrowding. Like for example, this little guy up here is absolutely doing nothing. So I'm getting rid of that. Some of these, for example, this one's getting brown, so I just take it off. So now we have better airflow that's going to come through here. Now there's some limbs that are absolutely just unnecessary. I mean, they don't produce anything. They're literally just pulling energy from the tree without giving anything back. So I rather the energy goes to the limbs on this tree that are actually producers. Like this branch is just a gnarly branch that's just here. Just look at it, just a branch. You know, so it's really doing absolutely nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it, which is going to make some room through here, because I used to actually try some grafts on these. It didn't really work out that well. All right, so, and there's other ones that are just limbs that are just out of the blue, just sticking out. Just getting rid of them. And I go as far as I can cut with this, probably go through with pole saw or so to get rid of the rest. So all these up here, I mean, I cut all the way down to the nub because these are just branches that are in the canopy that are not necessary. So I'm trying to make sure that this canopy up here is a little bit more wide open, eliminating all of the branches that are no longer serving any purpose. especially if they're dry. So I'm just making sure that I'm only cutting the ones that are in the canopy. So now I'm going to use my ladder to get up to the very top so I can do the inside. Once I get the inside done, I'll be pretty much done. There's some other pieces on that side that I am going to be taking down, because they're literally just pieces on the mango tree that are doing absolutely nothing. Also, some of these limbs, I'm taking them down because we do have some pretty large mangoes that this tree produces. And sometimes these mangoes are hanging on the ground and I have to try to take sticks to pull the branches up and everything else. And since I'm doing this pruning, I might as well just go ahead and clean those up. So that way when I do have my mango production, I don't have to worry about mangoes touching the ground and everything else. So I'm going to start taking down some of these that are on this side that are doing absolutely nothing. Starting with this dry piece right here. You see, this thing snapped right off. It's completely dry. You're gonna have to move with me. Come on now. Oh, all right, where's my cutters? All right, so this limb right here, I'm taking it down because it really serves no purpose and it's drying out. A lot of the branches already dried out, and I can see all these dots, like these perforations all along the branches. So I'm not the branches, the leaves as well. So I'm trimming this down to where I can kind of take it off, because all this is going in my compost / organic material collection that I'm going to be using later on. All right guys, so I just finished pruning this tree, and so there you have it, a much healthier prune tree. I got a bunch of the dead branches, all of the dead branches out of there. I opened it up to where the canopy itself will have a lot of airflow throughout, so that way during the fruiting season, when we're actually fruiting, we can make sure that we increase the amount of fruit that we get from this tree, as well as keep this tree healthy throughout the growing season. Now that it's dormant, this is the best time for you to do all this trimming to get it to a healthier state. All right guys, so if you follow these steps, I guarantee you your mango tree will be healthier and happier. If you learned something from this, do not forget to drop your comments in the comment sections below, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe.